Okay, now thanks for coming back. We are almost done. I wanted to see where we are. I've stitched the shoulders. We were at number 19, and that was we stitched the shoulders, and then I opened up the seam. See, open this seam up flat before. Let's show you. Maybe I missed it. Hold on. We just have to cut this part out, please, Thelma. Okay, so now I have stitched the shoulder seam. So, shoulder seam stitched. Okay, it's hard to tell because we've got all of this fabric going on here. So you can barely see the shoulder seam. So, here's the shoulder seam. Now, right here, see? Shoulder strap. Alright, so I'm going to unpin it for now because I pinned them up so that it would look really neat. But I'm unpinning this to make sure that I covered this and I don't have to go back and once I sewn it all up and redo it. Anyway, alright, this was step number 19, where it says to open out the lining at the shoulders, pin front and back shoulders together at the shoulders, pin lining edges together, stitch in one continuous seam. Alright, so that's what we've done, all of that. So it really should be at the part where we were understitching. Okay, so I think I showed you where we understitched all the way around. See, as far as we could go. Turned it over, pressed it, and now, you know, this is the shoulder seam here, and this is the remainder of the arm's eye that we had to leave open in order to turn the facing. Okay, so what we've got here is this opening, which we can't sew by machine, so I pinned it together, and we're going to sew that by hand with a slip stitch. Now I'm going to wait until I am ready to do all of my handwork at one time. Okay, so this is pinned together. All right, I'm going to show you what it looks like pinned. It looks just like a regular armhole. See, regular armhole, but it's pinned. You can't really see that it was a machine stitch. I've turned it on. Here it is on the inside, and it's pinned. See? And I'm going to do a slip stitch all the way around. Now, the other thing is, earlier we were to hand sew this facing into the back of the zipper. So all of that's pinned. So I like to wait until I'm done, if I can, to do all my handwork at once. So that's what I'm doing. So this side is pinned, this side is not pinned, and I started pinning it again. See? So all I have to do is pin it down, and then we're going to do our hand stitches. And then of course the back part on the inside at the just at the seam, the waist at the bodice, because it's not the waist, is actually higher than the waist. It's an umpire style. So, but what we're calling attaching the bodice to the skirt part, see right here, this facing that we attached, that we sewed earlier, we're just turning it down right there, and we'll pin it. Then we will come back and do all of our hand stitches. This is going to be attached by hand. Okay, so now we're at the part where we're going to do our little belt. So now then, so we've skipped over 20, 21, 22, 23, and we're at 24. Okay, see, I'm skipping 20, 21, where it says put the hook and eye. That's handwork, so we're going to wait. This 20 is a handwork on the lining, so we're waiting. 22 is press the pleats. This is the hem. So we're waiting. That's handwork. 23 is on the outside, crease the pleat. So we can't crease that pleat and sew it down until after we've hemmed it. So that's a wait. And number 24 is where we are. We're going to stitch the belt sections together. So this is the center where we stitch those notch pieces together, right? We stitched that, pressed it open. All right, show you that. It's getting stuck with pins. All right, here's the center. All right, I sewed that together, pressed it open, and of course you see I'm serging. I just like that clean look, and this ravels. So the more you work with it, the more it ravels. But you were not working with it long, so you can probably put up with that. All right, so basically all I've done here is I have pinned the sides together. See, just like the instructions say, pin it. I pinned it all the way down. I matched that seam that you just saw. Where here's the seam. See, I pinned it, matched it, put a pin in, and then I pinned the rest all the way down. Okay. Now, the thing that I'm not doing, what the instructions say, is they're saying to stitch it down, then turn and stitch across. We're not doing that. We're stitching all the way to the end across. And we started at the front. It's a mess. It's a mess. It's a mess. Okay. Find the front. Turn this over. It's so long. Okay, now got it. Alright, so we start here where I started pinning, but I did not pin across this corner that I left open. So I'm just stitching starting here, and I'm stitching all the way down. My little 5/8. Am I doing 5/8 of an inch? It's saying 5/8 of an inch, but you know, you can do 5/8 since that's what you practice with. I may do a little bit less because I like for it to be a little bit wider. So I may just do 3/8 of an inch all the way across. If you want yours a little bit wider, then you can do the same. Just 3/8 of an inch all the way down. And we are leaving at some point a gap. So let's say we're on the other side. We're past that seam. And we're stitching and stitching, so we may stop about right here where it's pinned, back stitch, then skip over. Don't stitch this. Skip over that because we need to leave a space for the opening, right? So we're going to skip over till about where this pin is, or a little bit further, maybe right in here. That should give us enough room to make the turn, right? So we're going to skip over that, back stitch, and then continue stitching and go all the way across. All right, do not turn and pivot and blah blah blah. So, and then once we finish stitching that, I'm going to show you what our next step is. Okay, so let's do our belt, and then we'll be ready to basically press it open. I'll show you that, and you'll have a neat little belt. Okay. Okay, I've stitched this. Get some, see if you can get some light. All right, I've stitched it all the way across. Long seam, right? Like 3/8 of an inch. And see how I've just stitched it off. I didn't come across and stitch it that way. All right, so now what I'm gonna do, iron, pressing, put a little steam here. All right, and then I am going to open this that way and press the seam open all the way down. And I know it's a long seam, but we're pressing it open. If I can get it to work that way, huh? It's not as wide as I'd like, but pressing this open, okay? Turn, And we're putting it in the middle and pressing it open. Then, once that's pressed open all the way down, we can trim it a little if you want. Trim the seam. But it looks like I'll probably leave it as is. Then I'm going to stitch across this way, both ways. I'm going to stitch across, back stitch, come across, back stitch on the end. Now remember, I have an opening somewhere. So here's my opening right here. See, so I clip my threads. I have an opening. And then once I have the ends, once I have the seam pressed open, as I showed you, all the way down, and each end stitched across right here, then I'm going to turn it from the wrong side to the end, to the right side through that opening with either, I have a little turner. Let's see if I can find that. What am I using? Sometimes you can use a little pencil, but here's a turner right here. I'm just going to put it at one end, or here's another little turner, wood turner. And I had another one with a little bobbin, but this is what we're using this time, one of those. And once it's stitched, we're going to put this, because this will be stitched across, we'll be able to push this in. It won't go through the fabric, but we'll just push it and we'll end up turning it on to the right side. But I'll show you that. All right, so let's press, then stitch across, and then we'll turn. Okay. Okay, I have finished stitching the seam all the way down and pressed it open, right? So I pressed it open all the way down. So as you can see what it looks like, and here is my see, here's my opening right there. So now that this is pressed and I stitched it across, then I came back and I trimmed this, trimmed the corners, also trimmed right there where that excess fabric is. And now all I'm going to do is press this open like this. All right, pretty much do it by finger press it, and then take my little point turner and stitch this through, push this through. Let me show you. I want to get it at a point where I can like insert it and it stays without puncturing a hole through it. So I'm going to try and get it right here in the thick part of a seam, and then I will push it through. So let's see what that looks like. Hold on. Okay, so all I've done is push a little tuck in there, and then I'm going to push it through till I get to that opening. Then I'll start at the other end, push it through to the opening, and then it will be on the right side. So just to give you a feel for what it should look like, let's take a look right here, right now. All right, see how I'm just pushing this? You can just push this through like that, and you'll feel it start to move down. See, all I'm doing is just pushing. Pushing it through. See, it's caught here. So once that happens, I'm just going to pull it. Pull it out like this. See? Just going to pull it out. Then pick it up, push it down some more. See, it's just... Alright. And then do the same thing until you get to this opening. Let's move to the opening so you can see what that looks like. All right, see, we're at the opening. And I punctured a hole through it. Punctured a hole in it, right? But it should be quite fixable. See, here was my little hole that I punctured in it. So that's what you want to be careful of. The fabric is kind of thin, and I was actually doing it with one hand. So it will, see, it has a little hole, which I don't want, but I'll press it and try and make up for that, because this is a soft linen, so, and it's not that tightly woven. So you want to really work with where the seam is. You have a little bit, the fabric is a little bit thicker, so you want to work with that. Okay, so then all I'm going to do is pull it through. All right, so I'm going to lay this down a bit. Let's see. See, I was able to push the corners through, and then see the remainder of this. Then all you're going to do is pull this, keep pulling it out until you've reached the end. And then you're going to start at the other end and do the exact same thing. All right, and then once we finish that, the belt will be on the right side. We'll press it, and we'll do the slip stitch where the opening is, and we'll be done. And then it will be time for all of our handwork on the dress. Then totally finished. All right, let's see it a bit. Okay, I am now going to do all of the handwork. Let's see if I can get a better light here. A little more light. So I'm going to start with that arm's eye, where we now we're coming back to what piece is this? This is step 20 on the instructions on the guide sheet. It says that we are to slip stitch the closing for the arm's eye. So you see I have it pinned already, so I'm just going to do a little hand stitch right along where the pins are to close that up. So I have threaded my needle, of course, okay, white, with my white or cream thread, and I usually make, for slip stitching, I usually make the one end longer than the other. Okay, because we're just going to do it with a single thread. We don't need a double thread. And once that's done, I run it through some beeswax. Basically, what this does is it keeps it from tangling. So you can probably find this at Joann's or Hancock or something to that effect, and you just take it and run it through the little grooves here to get wax on the thread. And all it's going to do is keep it from tangling as you make your stitches. So I'm going to show you how to do a little slip stitch. All it is, of course, is that I'm going to start, let's see, right here. See if I can get this and work this through. So bear with me. Hold on 1 second. Okay. So I have pulled it through right here at the end of the machine stitching, right there at the machine stitching, and I'm just going to pull it through. Okay, like that. You don't have to knot the thread. You're going to go through a couple of times and that'll knot it without putting a knot in it. So once I do that, I'll do that once. I'll go back through, pull it, and then actually pull it through the circle of thread, and it will tie a knot. Okay, and then from there I'll continue just doing a little slip stitch. All it is that I am catching a little bit of the fabric, and I'll show you. Okay, I'm at the end, and as you see, I went past the understitching. I went just a little bit past, see? So no big deal. So here is where I'm going to double the stitching. See, I'm going to take my needle, pull this through, pull it through here, okay? And then right when we get close to the end, see I'm looping it, how it loops. I'm going to put my needle back through, and that ties it, kind of ties it in a knot, right? Okay, that knots it. See what it was done? All right, then I'll pull it tight, and then I'll come back. Now that I've tightened it, see? So I'm going to close off that little loop. See, that's tied. I've tied a knot. All right, then lastly, now I'll take the needle through, because instead of me just cutting it off right here where I've tied the knot, I want to actually take the needle through, see, beyond the point where I am going to cut it. All right, pull it through. Okay, if I can. All right, now. Okay, I want to pull it through here. See? Pulling it through, pulling it all the way through. Okay, to the point where, see, you can't see any of the threading. Then I take my scissors and cut it. Okay, so I didn't just cut it where I knotted, I'm cutting it down here. Okay, and then that's it. Okay, then I'll start on the other one. So I've done one. See what that looks like? And then I turn it on the right side. See, when I turn it on the right side, you can't tell. The beauty of sewing, right? So see, can't tell. So this is what we'll do with all of our handwork. This is with the arm's eye. Then of course you do the same thing with the zipper. Okay, and then around the bodies. See? We're just going to be, but we're not going to catch it on the outer fabric. We're going to catch like right along this seam line where that thread is, or right inside it. So it's just, you just don't want that threading to show through. And then of course here's my pocket where we have finished. We will be taking out the basting. You're just going to clip where the basting is and pull that thread out, and you'll have your, your side pockets. And then lastly, you have a seam, you have a basted seam for your pleat. All right, and see that thread, I started taking it out, so we're just going to continue to take it out, and your pleat will be formed. And then the very last thing would be you're going to hem it. So basically you're just going to turn it up where you think, or try it on, get a feel for how much you want, then press it down all the way around. I normally use, if you don't have one of these little metal easy hems, that's what I use. So I would decide, okay, so if I'm going to make it, let's say 1.5, all you have to do is fold it up to the 1.5 mark, see? And just press. And when you press it, of course, you will crease the seam, and then you'll come back later and pin it. Now, this particular easy hem, it has it so that it has like a little curved hem. You can have like a straight hem. You can, whatever fits your style, garment style. All right, so this one has more of a curve, so you want to use this. So as you press it, it kind of presses out, it presses the shape in, right? And then you're not trying to make it a straight hem when it should be curved. So that should take care of it. This, you want to follow the guide, the instructions where it says that you're going to open this part up. this is where the pleat is. So I clip mine. So you're going to open it up to wherever you end up hemming, to the end of that. See, that's open. And then I'll lay mine flat. But initially, see, this part should be open. All right, you hem it, turn it up, do a whip stitch on this, and you want to just pick a thread of the fabric on the outer part, because that way it minimizes the hem being shown on the outside. Now, picking it up with your needle, so you'll have a really fine needle. It's a little trick to it, and it takes a little practice, but you know, you get through it. Sometimes this hem could even be, if you don't want to do that, even though to me it kind of takes away from the finishing, is sometimes people just do a stitch with the machine all the way alongside. It just depends. Do a little shirt tail hem, so you might want to lower it, do a shirt tail hem, and stitch it with your machine all the way around. That may be easier for you, but I kind of like the feel, if it's a dress, that I'm actually turning it up enough to give it a little weight, and you know, you'll have a hem. But that's it. We'll come back and show you what the entire finished thing looks like. Get a picture of that. But thanks for hanging in there with me. If you have questions about anything that we've done along the way, of course, you know, there's a space provided for questions or anything else, that any input I can give you with this. I've truly enjoyed showing you how to make this dress, so you'd have something for summer, and you can duplicate this in as many fabrics as you choose, and it will look totally different each time. So if it's a stripe, you know, you can have stripes going in different, you know, directions. It's your creativity. Whatever you want to do with it, you can do. So this is the beginning of something great, and it's nothing but fun all the way. So I hope you've enjoyed it. I truly have. If you have any questions, feel free to shoot me an email, even call me. And I'm on Skype as well, so you can Skype me, Facebook, all of those channels of communication we'll have. But I'll come back and show you what this looks like completed, totally complete, and hopefully at some point I'll have it on. So let's see what you've done. If you have finished yours, or you're just getting started, feel free to send me questions, and we can get this done for you. See, my little black and white square neck dress. All right, thanks so much, and we'll talk to you soon. Bye.